too, my wife thought she could get away with cheating on me with a low-life serial cheater while I was away. But with hidden cameras, a little sabotage, and a plan to expose every last detail, I made sure their romantic night turned into a nightmare, and left them both with nothing to show for it. It was petty, sure, but after everything I'd seen, I think I'd earned the right to a little payback. I watched her slump back onto the couch, clearly exhausted from her trips to the bathroom and the emotional wreckage of the night. She sent a few texts, probably trying to explain herself to Brad, but he didn't reply. Can't say I blamed him. If I had to deal with that level of chaos, I'd have ghosted her too. She looked like she was on the verge of tears, but honestly, I felt nothing. If anything, I felt a little smug watching her squirm. After a while, she gave up trying to salvage the night, tossed her phone on the couch, and sat there stewing in frustration. She was probably angry at Brad, at herself, at the universe for ruining her little fling, but she had no idea that the universe was named Mike. And I was just getting started. By the next morning, I had a clear plan in my head. I wasn't about to keep living in a house where I knew she was scheming behind my back. So when I got home that afternoon, I didn't waste any time. As soon as I walked through the door, Emily perked up like nothing was wrong, like she hadn't been scrambling to hide her dirty little secret just hours ago. "How was your trip?" she asked, putting on that fake smile she'd probably been practicing. I couldn't even look at her. "We need to talk," I said, cutting straight to the point. That wiped the smile off her face. "I know what you've been up to, Emily," I started, and I could see her whole body tense up. Her eyes darted around, like she was searching for a quick excuse or a way out. She stammered something about not knowing what I was talking about, but I wasn't having it. "Don't. Just don't," I said, holding up my hand. "I've seen everything, the cameras, the texts, your little plan to have Brad over while I was gone. I know it all." Her face turned white. For a second, I thought she might actually faint. But instead, she switched tactics. The waterworks started, tears streaming down her face as she tried to plead her case. "Mike, it's not what you think," she sobbed. "I was just lonely, and we've been so distant lately. I made a mistake, but I swear I didn't sleep with him. Nothing happened, I promise." I had to laugh at that. "Nothing happened because you spent the night glued to the toilet, Emily." "I made sure of that," I said, and her eyes widened in shock. "Yeah, I put laxatives in your dinner. Figured if you were going to cheat on me in my own house, the least I could do was make sure it wasn't a good time." Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. She had no comeback for that. The tears kept flowing, and she tried to reach out to me, but I stepped back. "Don't touch me. I don't care what you think or what you feel, you've been lying to me for who knows how long, and now it's over." She collapsed onto the couch, bawling her eyes out, but I wasn't moved. Not even a little. "You've got until the end of the week to pack your things and get out," I said, my voice cold. "If you're not gone by then, I'll throw your stuff in the trash. And don't think about trying to guilt me into anything, I've already filed for divorce. You're done." I could see the panic in her eyes. She knew I wasn't bluffing. "Please, Mike," she begged, her voice shaking. "I'll do anything. I was stupid, I know. We can fix this. I don't want to lose you." "Too late for that," I said, turning my back on her. "You didn't care about losing me when you invited that loser into our house. Now you've got to live with the consequences." I walked out of the living room, leaving her sobbing on the couch, and locked myself in the bedroom. I wasn't going to let her guilt me into forgiving her or gaslight me into thinking this was something we could fix. It was over. She knew it, I knew it, and soon enough, the rest of the world would know it too. What she didn't know was that I had one final card to play. I'd like to say I felt some kind of satisfaction after that confrontation, but truth be told, I was still pissed. The whole situation felt like a bad dream I couldn't wake up from, and Emily's tears did nothing to soften the blow. So while she was sobbing in the living room, I locked myself in the bedroom and started putting the last pieces of my plan together. You see, it wasn't enough for me to just kick her out and get a divorce. I wanted her to feel the full weight of her actions. Emily might have thought she could cheat on me in my own house and walk away with a sad little apology, but I wasn't going to let her off that easy. And Brad? Well, that man had his own reckoning coming. The next morning, I woke up before she did. It was like living with a ghost. She'd spent the night in the guest room, probably crying herself to sleep. Frankly, I didn't care. I grabbed my phone and made a few calls. First, to my lawyer to finalize the divorce papers. I wanted her served by the end of the week. Then, to Brad's wife. Yep, you heard that right. This fool Brad had a wife. Her name was Jessica, and she had no idea what her scumbag husband had been up to. Lucky for her, I did. I called her that morning. It wasn't a conversation I was looking forward to, but it had to be done. The phone rang a few times before she picked up. "Hello?" She answered, her voice bright and cheerful. She had no clue what was coming. "Hi, Jessica," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "My name's Mike. I'm, Emily's husband." There was a pause. I could almost hear the gears turning in her head. "Oh, Mike. Hi, is everything okay?" she asked, clearly confused. I took a deep breath and said it straight. "Listen, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but I think you need to know that Brad has been seeing my wife behind your back. They were planning to meet up at our house while I was away for work. I've got proof, and I thought you deserved to see it." Another long pause, then in a much quieter voice, she said, "Are you sure about this?" "Unfortunately, yeah," I replied, feeling that familiar pain and anger rising in my chest. "I've got emails, texts, and footage from security cameras. I can send you everything if you want." I hung up and looked over at Emily, who was still in the guest room, probably wondering if I was going to change my mind. Spoiler alert, I wasn't. Later that day, I met Jessica at a small coffee shop not too far from where we lived. When I got there, I realized that Jessica was stunning. Like, how could Brad cheat on her with Emily? I mean, I know my wife wasn't ugly, but compared to Jessica, it was like Brad was trading a Porsche for a used minivan. Jessica looked devastated when I handed her all the evidence I'd collected, emails, screenshots, even a few clips from the cameras. Watching her face fall as she read through everything, I almost felt guilty for delivering the news. But she deserved to know the truth, and Brad deserved whatever was coming his way. We sat there for a while, talking about the whole mess. She thanked me for telling her, though I could tell she was shattered. She kept shaking her head in disbelief, saying things like, "How could he do this?" And I thought we were happy. We exchanged numbers, and I told her if she needed any more evidence or support, I was happy to help. I wasn't trying to play the knight in shining armor, but I figured if we were both going through this dumpster fire of betrayal, we might as well look out for each other. As I walked back to my car, I realized it was the nail in the coffin for Emily's affair and her life as she knew it. She wasn't just losing me, Brad was about to lose his wife, and once that happened, the house of cards would come crashing down for everyone involved. But I wasn't quite done yet.